Viking statements today. And I'm going to give you this one. We might sprinkle this in on Purple Daily tomorrow too, but it's too juicy, and I want Vikings fans to feel some hope and some optimism today to some extent. So my next statement is, this loss does not eliminate the Vikings from doing playoff damage or from winning a Super Bowl. In fact, there is historical precedent recently, especially, of Super Bowl winning teams hitting major stumbling blocks midseason and or getting smoked at home. And I haven't done like all of the teams yet, but I'm going to give you 4 teams in the last like 11 years of the NFL that won the Super Bowl despite having crazy big hiccups fairly late in the season, okay? Let's start with the 2021 Rams. They were blown out at home by the Cardinals early in their season. Then they were blown out at home by the Titans. They were down 28-9 in a game against the Titans. They scored a garbage time touchdown to make the game look a little bit closer. But 2 absolute home blowout, embarrassing losses, including a stretch of 35 days without a win, period, in November and early December. That was last year's Super Bowl champions, where Kevin O'Connell was the offensive coordinator. They got their bleep together in December and January, and they went on, obviously, to hoist a Lombardi. The 2020 Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they were blown out 38-3 at home by the Saints. They fell to 7-5 after 12 games. They didn't figure it out until December. They actually, the figure it out game for them was after the bye against the Vikings, the Dan Bailey game. The wind was whipping.
Oh, yeah, that was it.
Fairness. They didn't lose a game after that. They ran the table the rest of the regular season, and then they ran the table in the postseason. But they were absolutely embarrassed by the Saints and were 7-5 after 12 games. Now they had Tom Brady. So, well, you guys said you'd take Kirk Cousins over Tom Brady last week on this show.
Well, not 2020. But yes,
Okay.
I said 2020. I did say 2022,
Okay.
as crazy as it might sound. Yep,
Okay.
I said that.
Okay,
Bring it on.
That's fair. That's fair.
You can challenge me all you want.
2012 Ravens.
Yep.
They started 9-2 and then imploded in December. They lost like 4 of their last 5 games and just stumbled drunkenly down the stretch, including a blowout loss at home to Denver. They barely snuck in the playoffs as a 10-win team. And then it all clicked for Joe Flacco and company in the month of January. They had to play 4 playoff games, including the Super Bowl. They won all of them, including a revenge game against Denver on the road.
Yep.
So the 2012 Ravens had a good defense, but it wasn't the 2000 Ravens defense. And Joe Flacco is Joe Flacco.
Yep.
So a team that started 9-2, hit a major stumbling block, got their bleep together in January. The year before that, the 2011 Giants, kind of a similar story. A November implosion, 4 straight losses, including a blowout home loss to the 5-win Washington Redskins at the time. And then, okay, dust yourselves off. Go on the road in the playoffs. The Vikings are going to have the advantage of they're at least going to get, unless they totally implode, they're going to get a home playoff game or 2. So those are just 4 teams in the last 11 years that hit a huge stumbling block or got smoked at home in some way, and it didn't ruin their season. In fact, maybe it helped their season. Okay, got to go study some more film.
Yeah.
Got to make some adjustments, etc. So that loss yesterday does not disqualify the Vikings from doing damage in January, early February.
So that loss, it does a bunch of things. Some of them good, some bad. But what it does is it is the ultimate, and I think you ran through a list of teams that had great character. So you bounce back. And what I like about O'Connell is I don't think he's going to clench up now. I don't think he's going to get mad. I don't think he's going to, I think he's a smart guy. I think he's going to learn, and he's going to share what he learns, and I think he's going to keep things cool. Now we'll find out, because we you know, you're playing Belichick, which makes a lot of coaches uptight on Thursday. But as far as character goes, I would at least right now bet on the fact that the Vikings are going to bounce back, because the people that lead them, I think, have the ability to do exactly that. The second thing is, I'm sure in all of the cases of the teams that you went through, beyond just being a bad game or bad games, when they got blown out, they probably went to school on the film. And so they did learn from it. And if you learn from it, it can help you. The last time the Vikings, so I was talking to our friend Tyler Fornes from Vikings Wire today, of course, where I do some work, VikingsWire.com.
Judd Zolgad here from
and he
VikingsWire.com.
And Tyler Fornes reminded me that the last time that the Vikings had this happen to them was the 2018 Buffalo game on a Sunday, I believe, blown out by the Bills. And that was a bigger embarrassment than this because that Bills team at that point was up and coming, but nobody, I mean, they were a 16-point dog. I think to this day it remains the biggest point spread when a team gets blown out. 4 days after that, I believe, is a game at the LA Coliseum against the Rams that the Vikings lost but played well, and it was a shootout, and it was a fun game. So, like, there is the ability to bounce back. That's why I said on PD today, I really can't make a judgment here of, like, what this means until Thursday.
Yeah.
Because it's bookends, right? So, like, if you come back strong now and your offensive line plays well and Kirk gets protection and you win in approximately 4 or 5 days, we're going to be really impressed and be like, wow, nice bounce back.
Yep.
So it's really hard to, like, it's very hard for me to pass judgment. Yes, it was embarrassing. Yes, I was surprised. Yes, it was far from ideal. But it's really hard to pass judgment now until we sort of see how the entire team, including the coaching staff, bounces back. If they don't bounce back, it's a problem. If they do, it's potentially a lesson learned.
And we kind of talked about this after the Buffalo game. I was trying to warn the audience. I didn't want to kill anyone's buzz, but everyone was kind of like, "Oh my God, this is a special season. It's a magic carpet ride, and they're just going to go 16-1 and run. This is the season and stuff." It's like, well, that's not how the NFL works. Usually, once in a while, there's a team that just coasts to 14, 15, whatever wins, right?
Right.
But usually, you're going to lose some games in the regular season. You might lose up to 5 or 6 games in the regular season. Some of those teams I just mentioned were 10-6 teams in the regular season, or 11-5. Because they got drubbed a couple times, they lost 2 or 3 games in a row, whatever it was, and then you bounce back. But the good news is the Vikings don't have to give back that road win against Buffalo. Mm-hmm. That reference point and them fighting back from down 17 on the road, that still exists despite this loss. So we know what they're capable of. Now you just have to go back and see what happened against Dallas and see if you can prevent those things from happening against other great pass rushes.
Absolutely.
And depth is going to be tested because you're going to be without your probably maybe the best left tackle in the NFL for a stretch here. Yeah. And your defense has had some injuries kind of leak in lately too. So anyhow, over to Judd.
In fact, that's my next statement, which is there is cause for concern here. Christian Darrisaw, I think, will probably miss, and I'm guessing here, a month. Back-to-back concussions within a week. I'm sure we can debate should he have played or not, and that's going to become a topic. I mean, it was with Tua. I think naturally when a guy suffers a follow-up concussion, it's a debate or a topic. That's probably worth talking about. But in this case, I'm just saying left tackle. So I would like to see more quality depth at cornerback, right? And when you got a second-round pick like Booth to step in, you should be thinking, okay, he can hold up. He might not be great, but he can hold up. And Dallas was like, hell no. And Dallas attacked him. Left tackle, I'm not sure that's a fair ask. Like, you just don't have, well, we've got another left tackle. Left tackle is one of those really premium positions at which you, I think, hold your breath and say, among the guys we can't afford to lose for an extended period, and it's not going to sink you, but it's certainly tough, is that spot. So I think that there is legitimate cause for concern here. And the other problem is this, guys. When we start talking concussions, this isn't a toughness thing. This isn't a, well, Darrisaw should tape that up and get back and play.
No, it worries me. Yeah.
It's a man's brain. It's his life. And the problem is you can't really you're guessing, right?
And you just hope that it's not a long-term thing, too, because I hate to even throw this out there, but you see some players that they get their bell rung a few times, they get a couple concussions, and it becomes a thing going forward. So you just hope that him getting 2 in back-to-back weeks, I'm with you. I would sit him for a month. Long-term, he's too important. You've stockpiled wins. Even if you lose some games, like, you're going to go to the playoffs. It's not worth rushing him back and cutting off his long-term future. You could, if you were in a really tough spot and you felt like Blake Brandel just couldn't get the job done, Ezra Cleveland was drafted as a tackle too, and he's been pretty rock solid as a guard. So they've got some options to try some things at left tackle. I don't know that he's taken a snap at tackle since. Did he work at tackle even as a rookie in the offseason?
They moved him to guard immediately.
Exactly.
Right guard at first, right?
But if you needed to, so ideally Blake Brandel just works out for a while and he's fine.
Right.
But if you had to move Cleveland or something, there's options here to tinker with, but it's not ideal. All right, Dax.
My statement is Kevin O'Connell was outmatched. And I'm a little conflicted on this because, number one, all right, Mike McCarthy, there's two ways to look at him. Well, he's a veteran head coach who's been around a long time and has seen a lot of football games. He's won a Super Bowl for God's sakes. But at the same time, it's also Mike McCarthy. And he does a lot of boneheaded things, like even taking a timeout that helped the Vikings overturn a call. Like, I'm a little 1 foot in and 1 foot out with Kevin O'Connell being outmatched by a guy like Mike McCarthy.
Wait, you're 1 foot out on KOC?
No, not 1 foot. Just I'm 1 foot out on how did he get outmatched by someone like that? But at the same time, knowing that Mike McCarthy's also kind of an idiot and has won a Super Bowl too. So just trying to figure out how did Kevin O'Connell get that outmatched and out-schemed from Mike McCarthy?
That game has broken Declan's perception of coaches.
I like how you just called Mike McCarthy stupid.
I mean, I will say
he does look dumb.
Mike McCarthy has a very good supporting cast, right? Like Dan Quinn might.
Your guy.
Dan Quinn was going to get the job. I love Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore is going to get a job this year, or this probably this offseason, right? So he's got a good supporting cast. I'm sure that probably props him up a little bit to make up for his lapses. But watching KOC, I think, get outcoached by Mike McCarthy, who Vikings fans know really well from his Packers days, I think was tough to see. And I think that's what was so difficult for me to kind of come to grips with. Is it's not that you just lost to a Cowboys team that has some decent playmakers. You lost to Mike McCarthy, and that to me has some salt in the wound.
I got a question for you guys. If this game was last year, which it could have been, but if Dak had played in that game and the Cowboys put up a 40 spot, is Kellen Moore right now the Vikings coach? Because Kellen Moore took that defense to school yesterday. That was impressive. I mean, I'm with Dex on this one.
It's a good question. Kellen Moore, if Dallas goes back to the playoffs and he'll get a job.
He's going to get a job,
I'm guessing, because
and
actually, the more that guys like KOC succeed, the more validation it gives you to go get the next young 37-year-old whippersnapper, offensive-minded guy. And he did a good job last year too.
That was impressive though yesterday.
I still don't trust Dallas to not implode in a big situation in the fourth quarter at some point. That's what I was when it got to be 30-3, the game was over. But when it was 23-3, I'm like, this is still kind of shaping up for a Dallas second half meltdown, right? This all kind of plays into your hands.
That's what I thought.
Doesn't feel like it's totally over yet, but
yep.
But with all of that, my next statement is every Vikings insecurity came to fruition yesterday. Everything that you were kind of still wondering about this team, despite the record, reared its ugly head yesterday. How do they follow up an emotionally charged win, right? How do they bounce back and maybe not fall into a trap game? Well, they failed that test. How can some of these aging defenders, specifically the aging linebackers, keep up in coverage against quick out-of-the-backfield targets, right? Well, Hicks was terrible. Kirk Cousins in a nationally televised game. You're always kind of like, I don't know, these national TV windows, Kirk doesn't play well. Not necessarily blaming Kirk, but, he wasn't good either. Mm-hmm. And the offensive line, we're kind of, the offensive line's better, it's better, but we're all still a little bit nervous that it's not great. And yesterday it all came crashing down. So, everything that you thought you were a little unsure about the Vikings, despite their 8-1 record, was all laid out on the table, cards face up.
Your trust tree's been shaken.
It has been just a little bit.
It's been shaken. It's like
they
blowing
have
in the
flirted with
breeze
this performance all year, haven't they? They've kind of they've done this in the first half, and then they'll come back or they'll disappear for a while. They've flirted with this all season, and boom, it finally happened.
Man, 40 though. I mean, but it's hard to watch.
I think Ryan Wright had a good punt in there somewhere, though.
He had at least one atrocious one.
Yeah.
Anyway,
when you punt that many times, you're gonna have an outlier in there somewhere.
Back to me.
Any other Viking stuff here? Or do you want to rip the Gopher? Okay.
I got one more for you. Cause for concern 2 is my statement because We have not discussed this yet, but our friend Tom Pelissero, NFL Network, reported yesterday that Justin Jefferson has a slight case of turf toe. And that Justin Jefferson, of course, said, it's not going to slow me down, Tom. I'm fine, Tom. We're just telling you this. But anyway, I have no idea if this impacted his game, but I will say this. Turf toe is not something to laugh at. I guess it's incredibly painful. And I don't know that there's a cure for it beyond rest. And I think it can get worse. So I'm a little bit worried about that. Because, you slow a guy down a bit. Now, Jefferson played a ton, so hopefully it's nothing. I'm just saying it's certainly something to keep an eye on and keep in mind, because it sounds like, his toe hurts. That's no problem. No, everything I've been told is it hurts like hell, and it can slow you down.
He was also only targeted 5 times, and I get that there was just a barrage of pressure all day.
Yeah,
but it just, something felt a little off there. When Hawkinson's targeted 9 times and Jefferson's targeted 5, that's not the game plan.
I just don't want to dismiss it as nothing, because now that it's out there, and I'm guessing that it just, total guess, occurred on the great catch against Buffalo from the way his foot came down, probably on that. But I just think it's worth at least acknowledging that to dismiss it would probably be to go a little bit too far. We at least have to realize it could have an impact.
It feels like such a Minnesota sports thing. Of course he has turf toe. Of course he's just he
plantar
racks up
fasciitis.
1,000 yards in the first 2 months. Now, of course, he's hurt.
Plantar fasciitis, the injury of choice for a long time in this town.
Yeah. Ridiculous. Dex, any final Vikings things from you before Judd rips the Gophers a new one?
No, I also always thought up until like a few years ago, I thought turf toe was like an infection. Like, I didn't know it was like an actual injury. Like, I thought it was just some gross,
like fungus or something.
I thought it was like athlete's foot on steroids. I thought it was just some like weird fungus that like goes on your toe. But no, it is absolutely not. That's not the case. Not even remotely the case.
So yeah, it is. It's like the underside of your. It's like the. I don't know how you explain this,
right?
It's like the bottom part of the joint of your toe.
Yeah.
Where it hinges. And it's the part that's always touching the ground, basically. This is why it's called turf toe, right?
Yes.
It's a sprain of the main joint of the big toe.
Yes.
And it can be hard to walk on. It's the injury, allegedly, that kept Deion Sanders out of the famous Randy Moss Thanksgiving game.
Oh, nice.
Deion Sanders.
Nice pull, Phil.
He had turf toe, and he had it for a few weeks, kind of off and on. And there are some people that thought, maybe Deion is nursing this one because he doesn't want to go up against Randy Moss less than 100%. And get put on those highlight reels.
He had Moss toe.
Yeah, that's what he had.
My toes got no interest in trying to keep up with 84.
Moss toe.
That's a good pull.
All right, Judd's going to rip the Gophers here in just a second, but Lake Ridge Liquors in Vadnais Heights is probably a good place if you're looking to stock up for a holiday weekend this weekend, huh, Dex?
That's right. You got Thanksgiving, you got Drinksgiving on Wednesday. I'm going out for a little double date dinner on Wednesday. I have like a 4 Christmases. I don't know if you guys have seen the movie 4 Christmases, but I have like a 4 Christmases situation where I have like 4 different places to go also on Thanksgiving with all the family that's involved. So there will be stops at Lake Ridge Liquors, so I can stock up on all the great things that the crazy uncle needs, maybe the future father-in-law needs at Lake Ridge Liquors. They have over 1,000 wines in stock. They even have a rewards program. So I go to the liquor store a lot. So this is the best part. When you go in and you mention SCORE in your rewards program sign up, they will comp you $5 on your next visit. It's in Vadnais Heights. It's Lake Ridge Liquors off 694 in Rice Street. Go check them out. They're off 694 in Rice Street. Lake Ridge Liquors.
Send us your selfies outside of Lake Ridge or inside of Lake Ridge too.
There you go.
Or show us your Yeah.
Show us your can, show us your
Can
bottle,
I tell you
show
right
us
now,
your whatever.
At 53, a Judd dream has come true. This show has a beer, a bar, and a liquor store.
This is Judd's dream. Every night. He's been doing this radio and podcast thing for 12 years.
This is all I ever wanted in life.
It's amazing. All I ever wanted in life was for the Gophers to just win the damn division. Can we just win the Big Ten West?
No.
Apparently it's not possible for the Gophers to ever win the Big Ten West. Anyway, I'll let you go ahead. The floor is clear. You have a Gopher statement. So
I'll just make a statement about him. What an embarrassment. What a bleeping embarrassment that was. The Gophers The season's an embarrassment. The game against the Hawkeyes, an embarrassment. The coaching, an embarrassment. The lack of execution 13-10 at home. It was an embarrassment. And follow-up statement to the embarrassment statement is this: it's a lost cause now. I'm done. They'll never win. They will never get to a Rose Bowl, and I'm not saying part of the playoff. I'm saying the Rose Bowl in the years that they're eligible. They will never get to one in my lifetime. I'm not even going with the before I die. It ain't happening, okay? If you can't do it this year, when your schedule is, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, it's soft. Soft.
S-A-W-F-T. Soft.
When your schedule is that soft, no Michigan, no Ohio State. By the way, they're on your schedule next year, okay? When the Big Ten West is this bad, when Iowa and Wisconsin, which, and this is my fault, this is our fault, but when we were saying before, well, I mean, those games are now winnable. Like, you should beat them. The Hawkeyes can't score. And, of course, they come in and school you by passing to their bleeping tight ends. You miss a field goal. It costs you the end of the game. The end of the game. You are driving. Mo Ibrahim, unbelievable day. I think he was named Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week, okay? You're driving. You get to like the 9-yard line of the Hawkeyes. You're going to go ahead. Mo fumbles. Okay, very Gopher-like. That's bad. Then, of course, because the Hawkeyes suck offensively, they go 3 and out. You're in great shape. You're driving again. And you throw a pass. For a team that, by the way, right now, I believe it goes this. Least passing in the country goes something like Gophers, New Mexico State, I believe, and the service academies. But you finally throw a pass, and it gets picked off and returned for a touchdown, and it's only not a touchdown because the officials sucked, and they got the call wrong. Here's the chef's kiss to this crap. At the end of the day, the 2022 Gophers end up in the game against the Hawkeyes for the pig. They not only provide a pig of a game, but they pay tribute to the 2003 and 5 Gophers with Mason-like meltdowns. That's a meltdown on Saturday. I'm done with it. You will never, you know what? Play the games. The tailgates are fun. I enjoy them myself.
I do enjoy tailgating.
But anything that has to do with us ever talk, if I talk about the Gophers going to the Rose Bowl again, reach through the computer from Seattle, Phil, and slap me. Or Declan. Honest to God.
Dude, I saw an amazing new Instagram account. The guy had a t-shirt on. It was called something like Slaps for Money or something. And he welcomes people onto his Instagram channel who want to take, he's like a master slapper. And he just winds up and it's an unprotected slap to the head. But if you take it, you get a certain amount of money. And then it's content for his Instagram channel. I would rather do that than watch another Gophers Iowa game. And if you told me there's no money on the line, you either have to watch a Gophers Iowa game or get slapped in the face on Instagram. Which one do you choose? I would prefer to get slapped in the face on Instagram.
Yeah. I'm playing, man.
I had 2 old Dex tweets at a couple too many on Friday night. Remember I was supposed to go to a Gopher tailgate on Saturday morning?
I knew you wouldn't go.
I woke up at about 11 a.m. and my friend, hey, where are you coming? Where are you at? No, I'm not. Number one, I'm in no state to start drinking again. And 2, it's like 4 degrees with the wind chill. The Gophers are playing Iowa. There's no chance I'm making that tailgate.
Why doesn't PJ wear a stocking cap? He's always got that left ear exposed to frostbite, and I'm wondering if it's making him uncomfortable in some of these games. He's not making the right coaching decisions. My biggest, so I did tweet out, and it gained a lot of traction. And I was just I was watching the game half-assed throughout the day as we were bouncing around, and I said the shine has worn off PJ Fleck. I'm not calling for his head, but
I agree.
I certainly don't think he should be fired. I'm not saying that, but this was a huge missed opportunity season.
Correct.
And his recruiting has gone down the last couple of years. clearly they can't find a quarterback that can operate any sort of functional offense at this point. And their offense is mainly just hand the ball to one guy 40 times. So my biggest complaints from that game, people were like, well, what's he supposed to do? The running back fumbles and the quarterback throws a fluke interception. It was not a fluke interception. He literally stared the receiver down for a half hour on that play, right? Defender comes up, knocks the ball away. That's what happens. If you can't find a quarterback that you trust to throw more than 6 passes in the game,
right,
that's on you as a recruiter.
Yeah.
And when you hand the ball 40 times to the same guy, including, didn't he get like 10 carries on that drive or more?
Yeah. There was like a 13, 14 carry drive on one of them.
Just, you know what's probably going to happen at some point? He's probably going to get tired and fumble. So, I don't know, man. Like, yeah, some of the fumble stuff is fluky, but if you zoom out, the lack of good quarterback play, the recruiting downturn, the inability to take advantage of these soft spots in the schedule 2 different times. I'm not calling for his head, but the shine has worn off, and it's very possible we saw the best of Fleck in 2019. That's kind of where I'm at with this.
I agree completely with everything you just said. And here's why I have no interest in firing Fleck, and I don't even think it's a discussion. I think now we are to the point where it's officially hopeless, because we've gone from Mason, who took the program. I mean, it's hard to now crystallize this.
Go back before that. I mean, you just glossed over like 30 other years of
sure,
the
but
same
I'm just saying,
stuff.
But I'm
It's
just
been
saying,
60
since
years of the
97.
same.
Sure, but since 97. Okay, Wacker was a dismal failure, okay? So then you get Mace, and Mace came in and did some really good things. But it got to a point where, okay, we're ready for the next, or he did some good things. He turned that thing was a dumpster fire.
The first 5 years,
Yep.
I'll give it.
But then anyway, to your point, I think, it's like, you know what? No, it's time for more. Let's get more. And so you made a terrible hire there. And then you went to
Brewster.
Jerry Kill, who actually did a nice job. Again, it didn't work, unfortunately. Now you've gone to Fleck, and I guess here's my question. Who is going to save the day? So, like, if you fired Fleck tomorrow, and you're like, we're going to get a new start, who is it? Because I just give up. I don't think you're going to find it.
You know what? I'll throw it. I'm not there. I don't even care. To me, I went to all the games. I am a U of M. I'll jump on the bandwagon. Like, I'm not gonna. It's not gonna determine my happiness on Sunday morning at
Sure.
any point in the near future.
Sure.
But I honestly think Glenn Caruso, the St. Thomas coach, would be an upgrade over PJ Fleck. That's a Division I school now in their second year. So he was great Division III, great motivator, everything. Second year, Division I FCS, they won the Pioneer League. They've lost 1 game. They swept through the conference play with what's probably going to be a worse roster now than whatever it's going to be in 5 years, because now they're recruiting with a Division I label. So let me throw this at you, since we made our stop at Lake Ridge Liquors and Park Tavern. We're having a good time here on this Monday morning. Cliff Kingsbury is going to get fired. Would you rather have Cliff Kingsbury or PJ Fleck as your Gophers head coach?
I don't want Kingsbury.
Yeah,
I don't want Kingsbury.
I'm
He's
just
not
throwing
good,
it out there.
He's not a good
There's guys
coach.
available.
But that's my point. Is like, well,
I'm not firing Fleck though.
I'm
for
pissed
Fleck.
at him though. I will say this for Fleck. He is an atrocious in-game coach. He's one of the worst
Yes.
I've seen, and he refuses to get help.
Agreed. And on top of it, you can't run the ball 70 to 75% of your snaps and win as many games as you if you plan on winning, 11 games in a season at some point. Unless you are recruiting 4 and 5 star offensive linemen, and
No.
you need a quarterback to be able to do something at some point. And so if you're turning, this is the other thing. Well, the quarterback threw an interception. Well, I don't know. Maybe if he had quarterbacks that knew what they were doing throwing the football, because they threw the football once in a while,
Right.
they wouldn't be so deer in the headlights when it's time to throw the football in a big game, So, but this is it. I mean, I kind of thought going from Kill to Fleck, I actually mistakenly thought they were going to open it up a little bit more, throw the ball. He had at Western Michigan, he had Corey Davis. He's developed a couple NFL wide receivers, to his credit.
Yes.
But he had Corey Davis, and then I forget the name of that Western Michigan quarterback, but he wound up He was on like the Colts practice squad. I don't know if he got drafted, but he wound up in the NFL. So he did develop an NFL quarterback at Western Michigan. So he can do it. And he's an offensive-minded guy, has a wide receiver. But the way that he recruits and his personality and his recruiting style are so wild, out there, boisterous, right? Aggressive. And his coaching style and play calling is the exact opposite. It's punt, settle for field goals, run the ball.
Weird fourth downs,
scared
too.
of turnovers. It's so, yeah.
But like he goes for it on 4th and 1 in his early in games, at times in his own territory, but then on obvious 4th and 1s where he should go for it, he doesn't. And nobody is worse with the clock. My God, you might as well say, you know what, Peach, we're not going to let you see the clock. You can guess better about how to manage it if you can't see it. And his timeouts, he burns through timeouts like they're, it's just, yeah, it's very confusing. But I give up. I just give up.
So anyhow, yeah, we wanted so bad for the Gophers football team to be a thing 2 months ago.
And people cared 2 months
ago. They were going to be a thing, yeah. But
people cared about it. I'm through.
Yeah. Well, we should shut up so Declan can go talk to Realistic Randy and you can go talk to Royce and pump out some of our other shows here on this Monday.
All right.
This has been Mackey and Judd, daily Minnesota sports, entertainment, therapy, speculation. We'll do a feedback Friday on a Tuesday tomorrow because it's a weird week with the Vikings playing on Thursday. So get your feedback submissions in through the Score North app. We'll see you tomorrow.